AITA for wanting my daughter's boyfriend soon-to-be fiance to know her dark secret before marriage. I am the dad of a 25-year-old young woman who I love very much. I've been able to have a good relationship with my daughter and I enjoy my time with her, but there's one thing about her that would give many people pause. She is a diagnosed sociopath. She exhibited odd, disturbing behavior at a young age, and after a serious incident of abuse towards her younger sister, I realized she needed professional help. Throughout her elementary years she struggled heavily, getting in lots of trouble in school for lying, cruelty and all other types of misbehaviors. With an enormous amount of therapy support, her bad behavior was minimized as she grew older. She received an ASPD diagnosis at 18, and I had suspected it for a long prior. After her aggressive behavior was tamed, her following years were much more fruitful. She is law-abiding, has a decent job and a good education, and has many good friendships and admirers, especially male admirers. She is very, very charming and adept at attracting guys and maintaining their interest. She uses that old dating guide, The Rules Like a Bible. She currently has a boyfriend of about a year and a half who is crazy about her, and who I have a very strong relationship with. We live in the same area and spend time together regularly. He is a great guy, very kind, funny and intelligent, but I doubt she loves him. We've had some very honest, in-depth discussions about her mental health since her diagnosis, and she has been open with me that she doesn't feel love or empathy towards anyone, even family. When she acted very sad and broken up over the death of one of her closest friends at the funeral, she confessed to me privately that it was all a put on, and that she felt pretty neutral about the whole thing. She has also stated she has never once felt guilty about anything she has ever done, and doesn't know what guilt feels like. While she enjoys being around her boyfriend and is sexually attracted to him, I highly doubt she feels much of anything towards him love-wise. Her boyfriend, who might propose soon, has no idea about her diagnosis, and she has been very upfront with me that she has no plans to ever tell him, thinking it'll scare him away. I've made it clear to her that she needs to tell him the truth before they marry, that he has the right to know and consider it, or I will, to which she always responds, "I know you wouldn't dare." I actually would. I really like and respect this young man, and would feel awful keeping this secret from him, and letting him walk into a marriage without this piece of knowledge. I am not trying to sabotage my daughter's future. Maybe her boyfriend's love of her personality and other aspects is enough that it won't end the relationship. It is his decision to make, but he deserves all the facts. Someday he is bound to find out she is a bit off. It can't be kept a secret forever. AITA. Goodness, this is tough. Put me down for NTA because I really want to know that info before marrying. That of course doesn't mean you're not at fault for outing your daughter, but in my opinion it is for the greater good. Keeping secrets like this never works in the long run anyways. Right now he is enamored, but how long can that last? Surely the facade will slip over the years, and then they're looking at a nasty divorce with potential children in the mix. And if she is incapable of feeling empathy or concern, then she is, theoretically, capable of a lot of things in a divorce, even in a marriage. He deserves to know. I don't know what type of mother she would be. Imagine having a mom who is incapable of loving you. Not only that, but you have to teach children emotional regulation and empathy. I can imagine that it would be difficult to help a child learn how to deal with rage or sadness or loss if you have never really felt it yourself. There is only so much faking you can do of that sort of thing before the kids figure out that mom is faking it, and if she does they should too. It is a great way to teach kids to manipulate those around them while bottling up their own genuine emotions and reactions. Wow, I have never read an AITA and not immediately known what was right until this post. I feel for you. I am going to go with NTA no matter what you do because your heart is obviously in the right place. Yeah, this is a toughie. There really are no easy answers. I am NTA as well. I am putting NTA due to possible children and huge fights in the future. The child won't feel all the love or be disciplined as they should by Op's daughter. Then what if Op's daughter is in the wrong about something and wife and husband fight? She may be able to fake that she messed up and feels bad, but after enough time the husband will grow wise to tics and actions and realize she is just faking things. Simply for any future children they may have. I say NTA, if this guy wants kids, it's really going to suck to find out he is co-parenting with a sociopath. Also, is ASPD genetic? If so, he definitely deserves to know. As someone who was thankfully, fairly briefly raised by a person not genetically related to me, but who was officially diagnosed with ASPD, I have very strong concerns about the possibility of a child in OP's daughter's future. I believe the genetic component is the least of their worries. Kids are annoying. A major reason parents, or anyone, can put up with them at all is because of the instinct to care for them and love them, which is almost completely absent with this diagnosis. What happens when the baby would not stop crying? The toddler has a tantrum, a teen talks back. The abuse I suffered as a child from a sociopath has left me with deep scars. I have developed BPD as a result. My disorder is so well managed that it is barely perceptible, even to those closest to me. And I adore children. However, I know very well the damage that people with cluster B disorders can do to a kid, and I have to accept that I will never be a capable parent. I believe that the risk is too great that OP's daughter and boyfriend will conceive, and the child will be in danger. No matter how well her disorder is managed, a child will always be at risk. I am diagnosed with BPD as well, probably due to a mix of genetics from my dad, undiagnosed BPD, and harsh experiences all throughout my adolescence. I have only recently begun to consider myself stable, and I am in my 30s. That is, it took a long time. I am in a loving relationship, almost done with a BA in teaching. I work with music as I have always wanted to do. Life is more than okay, but I can barely keep it together just being me. It takes so much work just on a daily basis. Everything's hour to hour for me, always, and I do not know if I will spiral out of control again. I am stronger now, so it would not be as easy to shake me. But it could happen, and it is definitely something a partner must know, so they can make an informed choice about their life. I chose tubal litigation to take the choice away from me in regard to kids. I would not wish my illness on anyone, and I cannot raise a kid. I am not capable. To be fair though, OP's daughter and her BF might be child-free. We do not know, but take it from someone who knows how to manipulate. Keeping it from him could definitely be a control tactic. Thank you for making the changes and choices and doing all the hard work you have had to have undertaken. Thank you for choosing to care for yourself and those around you. That is really nice of you to say. Thank you. Always nice to be acknowledged. NTA. If she truly doesn't believe she feels emotionally connected to humans on such a degree, I wonder why she is highly objective to telling her partner the truth. I am 25F, also have this problem, not as bad as your daughter. I've been institutionalized as a teenager, and I've done years of therapy. I have gotten better, and my partner is well aware of my struggles to be an empathetic, emotional person. In fact, he is the only person I've ever met who has helped me start feeling any kind of emotion or empathy towards others. Maybe she found that in her partner to some sort of extent. Either way, the guy deserves to know if she hasn't told him yet. Thank you for sharing. Glad things are working out for you. Glad you have an understanding partner. Thank you. I just feel that her boyfriend, who is a mentally healthy individual, should be aware in case something were to happen that sets her off in the future. He needs to be prepared for his and her well-being. I can assure you that although I've been better for a few years now with a well-established career, all it would take is one more major and traumatic incident in my life to send me spiraling. I just got lucky by finding somebody willing to stay and able to help me. If he loves her, he will do the same. NTA. Holy crap, what an awful situation to be in. I know she's your daughter, but this is marriage for this guy, and he deserves to know. You already told her you were going to tell if she didn't, so I think you should. As someone who has seen this personally, I can assure you the person affected wished they had known prior. My father was diagnosed as a sociopath while my parents were in counseling. They are now divorced. He was not diagnosed as a child like OP's daughter, but my mother has had to work through a lot of personal issues because of him. She has a really hard time understanding the why of his negative actions that led to their divorce. I think she would have liked to know ahead of time, if it had been possible. OP, my heart goes out to you. You're in a difficult situation. I think at the end of the day, you have to do what will help you sleep at night. I think it could be helpful to speak to your daughter's mother about the situation. NTA as a parent, I don't envy your position here, but her boyfriend has a right to know. They are happy now, at least he is, but it's grossly unfair to stand by and allow him to propose and her to get married to him if he doesn't know the truth. Best wishes for your unfortunate predicament. Absolutely. If I married someone and nobody disclosed they were a functioning sociopath, I'd feel totally played. I married someone with BPD and I wish his family would have let me know. I may have still married him, but I could have gone into the marriage better equipped to handle the ups and downs of our relationship. You may want to reach out to a counselor to discuss the best way to talk to the boyfriend and encourage your daughter to meet with the counselor. 2. It really should come from her, and maybe a professional has a more effective way of helping her come to this understanding. Despite lacking the emotion she needs to fully get why disclosure is so important in a deep relationship. Absolutely. OP is in a very tough position, but is NTA. No one should marry without full disclosure of medical and financial and other items that they bring into the partnership. If you found out after getting married that your partner was a cancer survivor, or a recovering alcoholic, or was being treated for depression, or had a pacemaker, these things are fundamental to who you are and should be shared. It is a betrayal not to, even if they don't pose a problem at the time and might not ever pose a problem. You need to know the whole person to be a good partner to them, and you deserve to know the whole person you are committing to. Excluding details like this undermine the basic foundation that a marriage is built upon. So I think OP is correct in that the fiancé deserves to know and that it is the daughter's responsibility to tell him. And I agree with OP in the above post that someone who knows that one party is withholding critical information is morally obligated to share that information if the appropriate person doesn't. Many comments here revolve around potential danger or fallout. I am not qualified to speculate on it, but feel it would be wise to consult a specialist, even if it is just for peace of mind. NTA, you should tell him, but he probably would not believe you. He is getting into something really dangerous with someone who does not react or respond in the way a normal person would. Almost anyone would want to know this. I wondered this as well. If he would believe the OP, if she is as charming as we are led to believe, the BF might not believe this. I also wonder if she would retaliate against her father. If she feels no guilt, but something is being taken away from her, how can this father not be afraid at times? This is the struggle I've dealt with having a sociopath for a parent, because most people just know her character of the nice lady. They don't really believe she is a sociopath when I tell them. Sometimes when she is talking though, something flashes in her eyes and the real person comes out. The few that have seen that pure evil know exactly what she is, so the boyfriend not believing OP is sadly a possibility. Info 1. Your motivations. I am unclear on your motivation for telling him. Is she still a danger to him physically, or is it important he knows she is unable to love him like a normal person could, whatever that means? Or is it because you believe she is lying to him and deserves to know that, or something else? To her feelings towards him, she clearly has some attachment to him. From what you have laid out, I did argue she loves him as much as she is capable of loving someone. For example, her concern with you telling him about the diagnosis is that he had leave her. That seems to indicate she does not like that outcome. You appear to write off this attachment as purely sexual. Why? These are good questions. I am also wondering if children will likely be in their future. If so, is she capable of being a good mother, or would the father find out too late that she is not fit to be a parent? Yeah, that would be my biggest concern in the situation. How likely are kids, because sociopathic tendencies can be passed along. Many types of mental illness in this aspect can be passed along to another generation. There are many other outliers, and I feel another discussion is needed with the daughter because she may not know about these other possibilities and may not have thought about them. It's rough no matter how you cut it. I am sure sociopaths, psychopaths can and do have families. I think I've even read a Reddit post once where a guy was confessing he was a sociopath and didn't he love his wife or children, but wouldn't he ever hurt them and rather enjoyed his life the way it was. Just BC someone is unable to feel certain emotions doesn't mean they don't want to lead a normal life. His name is Kozak Kokawajiri. He is 33 years old. His house is in the southwest section of Moria, where all of the houses are, and he is married with a son. He works as an employee for the KMU department stores, and he gets home every day by 8 p.m. at the latest. He does not smoke, but he occasionally drinks. He is in bed by 11 p.m., and makes sure he gets 8 hours of sleep, no matter what. After having a glass of warm milk and doing about 20 minutes of stretches before going to bed, he usually has no problem sleeping until morning. Just like a baby, he wakes up without any fatigue or stress in the morning. He was told there were no issues at his last checkup. He is trying to explain that he is a person who wishes to live a very quiet life. He takes care not to trouble himself with any enemies, or winning and losing, as that would cause him to lose sleep at night. That is how he deals with society, and he knows that is what brings him happiness. He usually has no problem sleeping until morning, just like a baby. I know it is a common phrase, but that is just not how babies sleep. Look more carefully at the punctuation. That was not the same sentence. Wow, that is the hardest AITA I have read in a long time. You are ethically compromised either way. It is probably best you stay out of it. Edit. I cannot possibly respond to all the comments this comment is getting. Sorry. Scroll further for more in-depth discussion of the subject. As to why this got so many upvotes, I guess it is because I was the first, or one of the first, people to comment. This is absolutely the hardest one I have ever read. I think it is above Reddit's pay grade. OP, you should talk with a psychologist about it. Agreed. This is too serious for us armchair pundits, and a real psychologist is not going to give you advice here. Agreed. Source: Armchair. You know, a joke was kind of appropriate to me for the first time in this thread. Thank you. Anti-A. He has a right to know. My sister is a sociopath. Not many people know. She is a nightmare. Is she married? Anti-A. And I think the people saying ESH aren't thinking far enough into the future. When does the deception end? And yes, purposefully not telling the person you planning to marry about a mental health diagnosis is deception. Let us picture the boyfriend posting on here 5 years from now. He knows his wife isn't as emotional as some people, but now they've had a kid or two, and he has discovered that unless he is there watching, she does none of the things you would expect a mother to do. She doesn't comfort their hurt toddler or the fussy baby. She doesn't seem to actually get upset if something bad happens to one of them. She is super dismissive of their needs and basically seems annoyed by their existence more often than not, because as a parent of 2 little ones, babies' toddlers can be a total pain in the ass, and if you don't have your love for them to overshadow that, things are going to go poorly. Finally, she admits to you that she is a sociopath. She feels nothing for the kids and isn't attached to them at all. What's more, she doesn't really love you either. She never has, because she is not really capable of it. And then you find out that her whole family knew, and they knew she was keeping it a secret from you, and they said nothing. While some here would sympathize with the parents, ultimately you'd still probably label them as assholes. This sums it up so well. As much as the daughter deserves a normal life, she needs to let other people know, since her boyfriend deserves a normal life too. It's not fair to have one love the other, and the other not care. The boyfriend deserves someone who actually loves him, or at least the option to stay if he's okay with it. I think a lot of comments here are filled with more vitriol for the daughter than she deserves. I think she has put in a considerable amount of time, effort, and therapy and has gotten to a good point in her life. I struggle with empathy and complex emotions, and I am not some monster who gaslights or abuses my friends, family or partners. Anger is definitely an easier emotion for me, but like the daughter, I have had years of therapy and learning to deal with this. As far as the situation, personally I am honest with my partners about my mental health conditions, especially when I think it will affect them. However, I am not having children, so that does not really matter. The daughter should tell the BF that this is something she has struggled with and gone to years of therapy for, especially if children are involved, because PPD can duck up even the most neurotypical person. But I understand her hesitation, especially reading this comments of people who read the word sociopath and assume she is some serial killer waiting to happen. But just because she does not really have understand emotions does not mean she is abusing the BF. We all love in our own ways. Her BF probably makes her feel safe and content. She can enjoy their life together, The act she put up for the funeral makes sense for me. She understood why others feel broken up. I am assuming she put on a show for the sake of family friends. If I am assuming correctly, that shows some good social understanding. OP, you are at a tough point. I understand why you feel like you need to tell the BF, but you could be sabotaging your daughter's relationship. A question for you to consider: why does she have to love him? Love is not simply an emotion, it is a commitment. You can love ice cream, you can love baseball, but being in a relationship and possibly marrying someone is more than just love. It is passion, patience, shared interests, compromise, understanding, and above all else, commitment. Your daughter can definitely have those things. You need to talk to her and be very honest about your own feelings. Be clear that you think it is the right thing to do, but be open-minded and really hear what she has to say. Possibly see a therapist about this, a therapist who has specialized in sociopathic patients and tendencies. But I wish you the best of luck. Be patient and open-minded. Do not jump the gun and ruin your daughter's relationship because of your personal feelings. Her thoughts should be considered too. Edit, mixed up my words, wrote psychopath instead of sociopath. This is very difficult, but I am going to go with the SH. She should tell him, you are right, he does deserve all the facts, he deserves to know, but I am not trying to sabotage my daughter's future. You sort of are. She is a functioning sociopath and is trying to be a normal person. She feels incapable of love but has found the closest thing possible to it in this relationship. If you told her boyfriend she is a sociopath, and I doubt she can ever really feel love for you the way most people do, you are either going to make them both mad, or you are going to drive this boy out of your daughter's life. And I do not think you should be the one making that move. It is a hard place to be. Whose feelings do you want to put first? If they are both happy, why ruin a good thing? He does deserve it, but is it really your move to make? Is her mental issue something you have the right to disclose? This is possibly a mistake she is making, but maybe she should learn to make her mistakes herself. Otherwise she will just do this again. She is a functioning sociopath and is trying to be a normal person. A good place to start would be to tell the guy, so that he can make his own choice. You cannot have a lasting partnership without the foundation of honesty. What she is doing is terrible. A lot of people have mental health issues. A lot of people are trying to be normal. That does not mean you should hide your diagnoses from your partner, especially if you intend to marry them. The thing is that she does not respond to things like a normal person would. No matter how hard she tries, it is not likely that she will ever feel emotions the same way a normal person would. At the very least, he needs to be able to recognize signs of her when she is not mentally stable so that he can keep himself safe. Just because she is trying to be normal now does not mean it is going to be forever. She may not be doing him harm now, but if the time comes in the future where she feels like he has wronged her or someone else in some way, her reaction to that can have huge consequences to him. At the very least, he needs to be able to recognize signs of her when she is not mentally stable so that he can keep himself safe. Just because she is trying to be normal now does not mean it is going to be forever. She may not be doing him harm now, but if the time comes in the future where she feels like he has wronged her or someone else in some way, her reaction to that can have huge consequences to him. I would 100% want to know. It sucks for her, but who would want to marry someone who potentially would harm you with zero guilt about it? She is going to have to do a lot of faking, pretending to be a normal person. I would not want to go into a marriage without this very important bit of info. With good intentions. Your daughter probably feels the most attachment and emotion she could possibly feel in this situation. There is a huge negative stigma surrounding this disorder, and could possibly scare him off, and this could cause her to have a strong reaction if she is as attached as you make it seem, which is shown with her not wanting to tell him about it in the first place, as it might scare him off. She could not want to scare him off for wanting to actually have him around, or just use as a boy toy, but if she isn't cheating or harming him, what's the point? Depending on the reason for telling him, could make you toss, such as, because you think he needs to know the truth. He probably does, but since she is 18 and a legal adult, this is her decision and choice to make. You could tell him, but what has to stop her from just keeping it from the next guy and from you on who she is dating and talking to? Give her the support needed to start the conversation with resources that would give him a bettering understanding on her disorder. If you just went behind her back and told him, that would Utah and could hurt your relationship with your daughter. If she isn't doing anything wrong and is actively trying to work on bettering herself to have a semi-normal emotional life, stay out of it. It is none of your business and between her and him, unless she is a serious harm to his safety and well-being. Just leave it alone. Good point. That is what I was thinking. She should tell him, but I do not think it is the parent's place to tell if he is not in immediate danger from her. You do not know if he is in danger or not. I think the important question here is, would you want to know if you were the guy? If the answer is yes, then he definitely should tell him before he commits his only life to her. He deserves to make an informed decision on whether or not he wants to get married. If she is not going to give him all the information to make an informed decision, someone else should. I was going to say don't tell him, but then I thought about what it would be like for you to give a toast at your daughter's wedding, and I imagined the immense guilt you might feel. I think you should tell him, but I also think it will backfire. Here is how I see it playing out. You tell her BF what you told us here. He asks her to confirm. She uses her sociopathy to turn him against you and convince him you're lying. Depending on how angry she gets, you may also have to worry about how she will retaliate. She could rage against the whole family and she might cut you out of her life without a second thought. Lastly, you lose your relationship with her BF, but you don't have to feel responsible for his decisions once he has all the information, making it worth it. I guarantee he could find proof of what he says to be true. Most parents who raise children with things like this have a ridiculous amount of past medical papers and such. Could very well happen though. But I say that lightly. While I agree that he deserves to know, it isn't your place to tell him. My guess is she probably recognizes that there is a stigma around sociopaths, mainly sociopathic, homicidal, and doesn't want to be seen that way. This brings up a few things for me. Was this not something discussed when she perhaps started dating in the first place? Are we supposed to be non-empathetic to them simply because they are incapable of feeling it back? I feel pretty bad about this whole thing in a way. There is no denying the BF should know, but the idea of the father essentially breaking this kinda really sacred trust without warning until things got serious gets to me, especially since he never refers to dangerous behavior as a diagnosed adult, but the chat jumps to so many conclusions so quickly, and it almost makes you not second guess why she would not want anyone to know this secret, right? All of these responses like tell him immediately that he might be with someone who could end up being a dangerous person and then watch your back are precisely why I can't blame her for wanting to keep it secret. If the stats are right, there are a fair amount of sociopaths out in the world that we as a population interact with regularly who are completely law-abiding and upstanding people. Maybe it's not with the same motivations as some people, but they know what is right and wrong and they follow it. Why do we get to make that harder for them with our knee-jerk assumptions based on horror movies and thrillers? There is so many holes in all these conclusions. She is devoid of all human attachment, so why are you worried about her ever making the guy anything more than a duck buddy? But wait, does not she have a significant enough relationship with the father to confide her deepest secrets in him? So now she is not completely devoid of emotion. Then there is the case of what would happen if an actual parent, unlike the majority of NTA advocates here, betrayed their child like this. You think after potentially breaking up her 18-month relationship, oh my god, how are they not married yet, she would ever let her dad in again? All for the greater good, right? Because now he is guaranteed to never have a part in any of her relationships again. I do not have her disorder, and if either of my parents even tried going behind my back to tell my spouse something about me, the closest they did ever get to speaking to me again would be my voicemail. So many mental illnesses exist that can present a real danger to people if left unchecked. But let us be honest, has anyone here ever been asked by a parent if they have disclosed this information with their partner? I certainly was never asked if I ever disclosed my bipolar diagnosis with my fiance. I have, but certainly no one ever checked to make sure I did. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.